Welcome everybody to the CJ the Smart Guy podcast show. Today I got a really great guest, Marques Burnette. He came onto the tour in Nashville. He also came out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he's been working real hard with Hill Harper and the Black Wall Street during the 2021 tour. And he just came back from Dubai, traveling around the entire world. So I want to welcome Marques. Appreciate you for coming on, man. How you been?
Appreciate that. Thank you, CJ. I'm good and blessed, highly favored. Thank you for bringing me here on your podcast, and just excited about 2022.
Yeah, for sure, man. So when we was on tour, I know you came out to Nashville and you came out to Tulsa. So talk about your experience and how the tour affected you and why you were brought on tour and all that information.
Okay, well, I mean, originally it kind of started out pretty organic with Naj and Hill. I actually, was supposed to go to a show in Birmingham. It got canceled. So I kind of reached out, I missed that show, and it turned into, hey, what can you do? Can you, come to Nashville? Want you to be our, a guest. I fell in love with Naja, and I fell in love with, the whole vision of the Black Wall Street and just bringing, the community, trying to, circulate our dollars within our community. Got a chance to, get a hotel in Nashville, meet everybody in the group as they were traveling. Kind of learned about more into the in depths of the cryptocurrency space from Naja, and learning from her experience and learning the history behind it. And so I was really, really, thankful to get a chance to, come out to Nashville. And then, the centennial happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I think that was a really great experience. And that was my first time actually spending time with Hill intimately, and being able to kind of see his passion for the cryptocurrency and for the Black community, and just generational wealth, ascending value asset class. So I was able to go there, and just being in Tulsa, after leaving Nashville, really opened my eyes to kind of where we are in the Black community and in financial wealth and freedom. And so just being there when we launched the Black Wall Street digital wallet on the actual centennial, 100 years to the day, I feel like was very special with Earn Your Leisure. That episode is on YouTube. So I think I advise anybody that hasn't seen that episode, go find Earn Your Leisure from May 25th, 2021, where we launched the Black Wall Street. But yeah, I've been, ever since then, I've been kind of staying abreast of the crypto space and just figuring out, where I fit in and how I can help, push this thing along. So yeah, Nashville, Tulsa, Miami, Atlanta, we did a couple things after that. So I'm looking forward to 2022 and getting out there and meeting people and exposing them just like last year.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're not familiar with the Black Wall Street wallet, and they're not familiar with the actual Black Wall Street that happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so I was familiar with Tulsa, Oklahoma, but that was my first time actually in Tulsa. And so just to see the vibe, I remember I was with Naj and we were trying to get some food. And so we were trying to find like some Black owned places, and it just felt like all the Black owned, places were closed. And so we were forced to eat at one of their restaurants, and the food wasn't that great. And it was kind of confusing because it was like, what's really going on here? And unbeknownst to everybody else, I was talking to some of the locals, and they were explaining like the politics behind it and how the racists never really left the area. They've just been controlling it. And I know that Centennial was crazy because it was supposed to be like a whole big show, and it got canceled. And then I know President Biden, he came out to speak, but it wasn't at our venue. It was like right down the street. And the biggest thing that he said that really affected me, he was like, we're trying to help Black women by giving them PPP loans. And all I could think about was, what about these people who are over 100 years old? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for their insurance checks that they qualify for. They should have got it a long time ago. They never got them. And they're still trying to wait for it. And the insurance companies are still around. Man,
in those, the brother and sister who actually survived the massacre, two of three living descendants or people that were actually there, just being able to feel the energy of Tulsa, I could tell, there's still a lot that needs to be resolved in Tulsa. It goes the same with a lot to be resolved in the Black community as well. So, definitely felt the energy. Definitely had times where we walked. I don't know if you remember, walked the streets and it started raining, and it was like the night of the centennial. It was supposed to be all these people out there, and the streets were empty, and it was like the ancestors were crying over, the situation of not being able to have this big celebration, not being able to come to some kind of agreement so that they could get reparations, and finding the history that these insurance companies still hold, the insurance claims that have never been paid out, they're still holding money, the books that if they went into the banks and if they didn't have their booklets, where they kept, all of their, ledgers from what they basically had, then they basically didn't have anything. So just learning that history and then being there on the exact day and actually launching the app, to the hour of when the sun, went down, when the massacre began, I think it was very, very impactful. And, it's still a story that needs to be told, and things that, we need to continue to push forward in the Black community, dealing with, our history, our economy, and the things that have happened to us. And so, yeah, it was crazy experience. Never forget.
Yeah, for sure. And you had mentioned EYL. I remember I was on the floor, but I was like squished, just trying to, listen into everything. Because to me, it was a huge moment that I think in 10, 15 years, we'll get a lot more credit than it necessarily does right now. But how'd you feel about the EYL and that conversation? You had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, man. Earn Your Leisure, the guys with Shad and Troy, they've been doing big things, major things since, that time. I think Hill had already established a relationship with them, being online. And, the fact that they invited us, out to launch this wallet at the same exact time. And they actually did that Market Mondays. They had a live episode, which was one of their first things. There's a couple little glitches and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely something that go down in history. And for EYL as a multimedia company that they've been building themselves up to and branding, and then having Hill Harper, who's, award-winning actor, someone who's a philanthropist, a best-selling author, that's something that's definitely going to go down in history. And, I think I said, anybody that hasn't had a chance to check that episode out, I suggest you go back and check it out. It's very, very much history making.
Yeah, for sure. I agree completely. So, you had mentioned cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, things like that. What was your first experience with Bitcoin, and where did you learn about cryptocurrency and things of that nature?
Well, ironically, man, which I wish, just like everybody else said, I wish, back in probably like 2007, 8, I don't know, somewhere at some point, I have a brother who's really big into stuff like that. But I think, at the time we kind of thought it was more or less like conspiracy theory, or not a conspiracy theory, but it's one of those things where, yeah, it sounds great, blah, 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 but nobody's really paying attention. And I, fast forward, 15 years later, I really just had recently found out about cryptocurrency, kind of like right before I got into the Black Wall Street tour. When I found out about, I had a friend basically, I was into stocks, originally into stocks, day trading, stuff like that. Then, these last few years, the pandemic, people started pushing this cryptocurrency, and then you started seeing, a small amount of money turn into a very large amount of money over a short period of time. So I kind of got into, the cryptocurrency space. And I was dealing with, the altcoins, the things that kind of make you, that the glamour, the things where you can make $10,000 off of $100 investment or whatever like that. But then I started realizing there's more to it than that. There's a history behind it. There's some stable coins, because a lot of stuff started getting, into deeper areas where, scammers and things like that. But I learned about Bitcoin. Honestly, I really started learning about Bitcoin when I got on with Naja. Like I knew about Bitcoin, but as far as understanding the history behind it, the Satoshi, understanding how that references into the Black community, and how, the cryptocurrency space allows us to kind of be on that even playing field, and allows us to pretty much bridge that wealth gap that we need in this community. Because like Hill says, without social, without economic justice, you can't have social justice. So, those things go hand in hand. So learning about cryptocurrency in depth, definitely learned from Naja. Definitely learned only probably about 6 months prior to, the tour of last year, how deep and how interesting and kind of forward thinking cryptocurrency space is. So and since then, we've been growing and learning about NFTs and just learning about the whole space in general, the metaverse. So yeah, pretty much I'd say about a year now, almost.
Yeah, I think that's big. Because when I was on tour with Naja, so I've been in the crypto since 2017 heavily. But even when I was on tour, I was still learning something from Naja every single day. Like the wealth of knowledge that she has, the wealth of knowledge that Hill brings from a upper level type of person in terms of finances, somebody who's been on tour, somebody who's been in acting. It's like when it all comes together, it was like an endless amount of learning. Because I knew about cryptocurrency, I knew about Bitcoin, but I never put it in the perspective of, wow, the Federal Reserve is owned by the banks, is created by the banks. It's not a federal actual institution. It's not a government entity. And then learning about them hoarding the gold, taking the gold away in the 30s and making it illegal, to the 70s where we're no longer on a gold standard. So it's just paper money. And when you really put into context that is just paper money, and people are working every day and people are dying and risking their lives for paper money that they can just print out at their own will.
Right.
It
No,
just blows your mind.
we don't hold that value, and the cryptocurrency space allows us to kind of be able to hold our value, our assets, and be able to, share them amongst each other without taking a third party out of it. One thing I really do not like are banks. I mean, it's a necessary means, but I mean, I've been in situations where I can't use my card, or something happens and you don't have access to your money, and I think that's one thing that like really kind of scares me too going into the future. Like all it could take is one situation and your bank account no longer exists and you have nothing. So I think getting into the crypto space and then being able to actually like trade those assets amongst each others and taking out the third party is pretty major, but it's still kind of like, we're still in the development phase. So I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to go and how they're going to incorporate everything from the fiat paper money to this cryptocurrency space.
Yeah. But I think Hill had the exact perfect idea. So just as reference with other assets. So in LA, we're going through gentrification where most of South Central was basically being bought up, or, the prices are skyrocketing for houses. And so one of the things that Nipsey and Dave Gross were doing in LA was they were saying, hey, we're going to buy this piece of real estate. We're going to make sure Crenshaw and Slauson is always owned by us, so that later on down the road, regardless of how profitable it is, regardless of anything else, we have a piece of this. Right. And I think it's the same thing with the Black Wall Street, where, in this crypto space, yes, you got Cash App, you got your Coinbases, you got all of these, but none of those are owned by us. And so we need to have one that we own, that we can control, and that fits us. And so I really like the Black Wall Street Wallet app because it has like tutorials and it teaches you about certain things. And all you got to do is buy, hold, or sell, or send it to your cold wallet. Like you don't need all the DeFi stuff yet. Or, if that ever comes down the road, the most important aspects of accumulating Bitcoin are taken care of in the Black Wall Street Wallet. So I think that was genius. I think it was necessary. And I think the credit will be given down the road.
Yeah, because I mean, the Black Wall Street Wallet, from it's a mindset thing. I mean, I think it's the wallet itself. It's not about just having a wallet and you can put your store there. I think it's a teaching tool. I think for us in the Black community, it's a fundamental. But like you said, we don't own any of the tech platforms. We don't own the technology. So I think by Hill and Naja going out here and basically Naja having her brick and mortar store, cryptocurrency place, and then as well as this tech platform, it allows us as a community to kind of have a piece of this pie, but also expand it and grow and basically teach people the fundamentals about Bitcoin. It's not about just necessarily making a quick dollar. It's about saving your money. It's about keeping our money within our community. So we create, a system where we have all of our businesses and we're all connected and we all support each other. We cannot help but to grow, the Black community and the Latino community, and grow them, as an asset class greater than what we are now, which will allow us to, accomplish some of those social injustices and inequalities that we have. So yeah, the whole Black Wall Street wallet, I think it's a wonderful concept. It's a great platform, and it's something that, as we continue to develop, we got to continue to get people to kind of jump on this platform, and we, just build our brand, own our platforms, own our technology, and then just grow each other. I think that's what we got to do.
Yeah,
So the Street is definitely one app that's moving us forward.
for sure, I agree. So what type of business endeavors you're up to now?
Well, man, I've been just dabbling and kind of trying to move into the entertainment space. I've been working with. I recently just came back from Dubai. Spent 10 days over there networking, working on pretty much like an art meets music, meets fashion, networking event. I'm working with an Afrobeats artist that has a really big following in Africa and Nigeria. Working on tours. My father and has begun. We have a tour company, Civil Rights Trails Tours, under the Burnette Media Group. So we've actually began doing tourism through the eyes of Black curators. So basically, we go out and we find people who want to be tour directors. We put them through a certification program and allow them to be tour directors. Because a lot of the times in the tourism industry, which is a $1 billion industry, us as African Americans and minorities are underrepresented. And a lot of times there's Black history tours, and the Black history is being told by someone who's. So I think us bridging and getting into the tourism industry is going to, spark a lot for the future, for some, for us getting into a greater industry that allows us to explore and expand. So I'm big into media arts and travel, art, music. So I got a lot of good things coming for 2022. Just kind of putting everything into place. Also been working with Lorea's Bodega on in Atlanta at the Pond. She has a bodega. It's a vegan-based, plant-based bodega that feeds the homeless every week in Atlanta, feeds the homeless in LA. Just, trying to get, find a purpose. Love without reason is her motto. Just, pretty much just trying to figure out how I can help others and put them into, greater asset classes, and create generational wealth and just leave my legacy. That's what I'm working on for 2022.
Man, I feel all of that, man. That's cool. And you say you've been to Dubai. I have not been to Dubai. How's the Dubai experience? I know that's like the most expensive country in the world. So,
man, I tell you, and I suggest anybody that wants to go to Dubai, let me know. We get in contact. I'll leave CJ's and my information, but definitely going to be putting some tours together. I suggest anybody get a chance to go over to the U. If you get a chance to just travel overseas, if you've never been overseas or even out the country, I suggest you just do it just for the experience. I mean, I think in America, we kind of get stuck in our bubble, in our box, and we think that, we have the best and we have this and that, but you got to go experience cultures. But, I took a 14-hour flight from Miami to Dubai, which is a straight flight on Air Emirates. I would highly suggest you fly out of Miami if you can on Air Emirates. It's a straight flight. It was a great, wonderful airline and take care of you. The biggest thing is trying to get your own seat. If you can get a whole row, you're great. You kind of it up. It's a little rough, but it's worth it. I mean, and watching yourself fly over Africa. I mean, I know I got to go back to Cairo now. I flew over Cairo, Egypt, just to get to Dubai, to UAE. So I know that, if I can fly to the UAE, I can definitely fly back to my motherland. But yeah, once you get there, man, the technology, the country's not that old. It consists of, people from everywhere. It's a melting pot. A lot of people, I tell people, if you watch the news, you'll never travel anywhere. If you believe everything, you'll be scared to just even, leave your front door. But, and it opened my eyes to a whole new world being in the Middle East, seeing that they really love American, especially African American men and women. They love us genuinely. I think there's a genuine admiration for the Black African Americans in America. I met a lot of people from Nigeria, from the UK, from India, from pretty much all over the world. I mean, I can say I got friends from all over the world now, and I plan to go back. The architecture is out of this world. The food is fresher. I mean, it's just a whole experience. It's a whole vibe. If you want to party, it's a great place to party. If you want to relax, it's a great place to relax. I mean, it's not just glitz and glamour, but it's definitely a place worth visiting. Definitely. You got to go. We got to go, CJ.
Nice. I'm with it. You said partying, man. Look, that's one of the magic words for me. I work real hard. So I work tirelessly. So, work hard. And then the times where I do got some time, play hard, man. So
Eat good.
Yeah.
Hey, book the ticket, take the ride. That's what it says. Book the ticket, take the ride. That's my new motto.
I'm with all of that, man. Look, make sure you get that trademark. I just got CJ the Smart Guy trademark. So you got to make sure you trademark all of that stuff.
That's right.
Yeah. And then you had you had mentioned your dad's family business with the tours. What are some of the cities that people can go to get those tours, or is it anywhere around the world? Are there specific cities?
Well, right now, civil rights trails tours. Right now, a lot of it's focused in on the civil rights, the South. So going down from Montgomery to Selma, going to the bridge, going to Birmingham, going to Atlanta, touching the HBCUs. But we also do all kinds of tours. It's not just civil rights. But right now, our primary focus is teaching Black history, curated by Black, African Americans who can give you, more of a sense of what it's like, what we've been through. And so right now, my dad right now is actually in Birmingham. So he's got a tour from Birmingham. He'll stop at Selma, and then he'll probably head on down to Montgomery. So, but yeah, I'll make sure I get you the information. There's tons of tours that we're curating for 2022 into 2023. We definitely want to do some international tours. We talked about a tour to Uganda, talked about a tour to, Egypt, Cairo, different things like that. Trying to, I want to expose the younger generation to travel. I want to expose them to media arts. We want to give, kids who've never had a chance to even leave, the neighborhood a chance to not only travel the United States, but also travel outside the United States and go to these places, because I feel like, travel will definitely inspire and give, a lot of people, hopes and dreams that they never really thought they could have by just being exposed to a whole different world and culture. So yeah, we're going to be taking over the world with this travel stuff, but we're going to have Black people doing it.
Bet. And look, yeah, for sure. I'm gonna check that out because I travel around the country. So my podcast, Finance Road Trip Podcast, is actually third tour in 2022 that I'll be going on. I went on a tour the year before Naja. I was just driving, and I was so broke that I was like Uber Eats in places just to get gas to go to the next city. But like traveling to me is like one of the most important things you can do, because like you said, it opens up your eyes to a whole different worlds, and you can't trust the news for everything. Because even just me leaving California, coming to Texas, I was like, well, they have cars. I thought everybody was in houses. I mean, in horses and
right
stuff. And then you get here and you're like, wow, how dumb could I have been? Or, but it's that marketing. It's done intentionally.
Traveling is the only thing that makes you richer. And I'm not talking about money. I mean, you not just money. Traveling allows you to have a greater sense of purpose, an ability to see things differently, and it just expands your mind to like there's life outside of your block, So we definitely got to expose the ones who don't have the opportunity to take these trips. We got to give them an opportunity, to explore the world.
For sure, I agree. So 2022 tour. What cities can we expect you at? For anybody who wants to, reach out to you or come see you, what cities can we expect you to be at for 2022?
2022 definitely will be in Nashville, Tennessee. I know you guys are working on the dates. What date do we have for Nashville?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But
so Nashville, Huntsville, Alabama, That's where I currently reside. I know that those are the two places that I've been, been contacted about. So you definitely will see me in Nashville. You definitely will see me in Huntsville, and more than likely, I'll probably be at the last leg of the tour as well. So whatever cities we're visiting towards the end, I'm there. Any cities that Naja or anybody, you guys, CJ, you need me in, I'm there. Any way I can support, I'm all in for 2022. We definitely gotta continue to push, the Black Wall Street, the wallet, the cryptocurrency, the education, a lot of stuff that Naja has going on. I think it's going to be great for our community, television shows and stuff like that. A lot of things to come in 2022 and 2023, but definitely first up, Nashville, Tennessee.
Bet, for sure. So I'll see you on tour. And if there's any one thing that you want to let anybody know, what would it be?
Man, make it happen every day. Book the ticket, take the ride.
Bet, just like that. Man, you heard him what he said. Book the ticket.
Take the ride.
That part. CJ the Smart Guy, I'm out here. Appreciate you, Marques, for coming on, and I'll see you soon.
Appreciate you, CJ. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem.